guys, this is Mark with Hawkeye Ordnance. We're here again with Adam and Jake from P3 Multigun, and then Jonah is joining us. He shoots for Arnzen Arms, who's obviously been a big supporter of us getting things done. They let us use space and all kinds of good stuff like that. So today we're going to revisit the shotgun reloading techniques we did about 9 months ago. So you guys, I mean, obviously a lot has changed since we were doing just the shell caddies, and at that time it was pretty much dual loads was like just really taking off. But since then a lot of things have changed. So within the shooters here we've got pretty much every loading style represented. So Adam, tell us a little bit about the way you were still handling that.
Well, I load traditional style weekend. It's pretty much considered old school at this point, but I stick with it because it's a conservative strategy. Pretty safe. I don't lose shells a whole lot, and you can do it from unconventional positions and not really worry too much about losing shells.
Yep.
The caddies are very durable. I don't worry about them falling out, and I can also go prone on them.
Yeah, that's nice. And I still keep this technique practiced up because, like today, we're at a match, the end of a match today. We had the tower. We were dragging up the ammunition, and you pretty much had to load weak or strong hand, one or the other. I think you staged them in there, right?
Yeah, I put the caddies in the can and just tried to peel them out. It worked great until I spun one of them around by accident.
Wow, that's... So what...
for me, it's one size fits all, I guess. That's we were talking on the unconventional stuff, loading on ammo boxes and stuff like that. I can stage them in an ammo box and still use that technique. As far as I'm concerned, it's the only way shells go into my gun, even if I'm hunting with my friends. I'll stack them in my hand.
So Jonah, you're still using the dual loads, which really took off last summer big time. So tell us why you went with that method.
I had started out with the standard, just like Adam was doing, and I tried these basically the night before the Nordic Championship match last year because most of my friends had them, and it was easier to borrow caddies from them than somebody else. And just when I started using them, it was really intuitive to just grab two at once. It's pretty easy to index off of. If I drop shells, I'm only dropping two, or hopefully just one.
Right.
And the learning curve was just really easy to both strong and weak hand. Flip the shotgun up, feed them right in the port, grab another set, and it just seemed really fast and really stable for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we're not going to talk to anything today about specific types of caddies. There's a handful of really top companies out there that are making great options. What we're doing today is sort of revisiting the types of loading methods possible, and we've been rolling in a bunch of footage of these guys shooting throughout the day so you can see the way they handle that. So the next sort of iteration of this, at least what's starting to really storm the game quite a bit, is the quad loading. And Jake and I both quad load. Jake is using your strong hand loading, right? No, your weak hand loading. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, like everybody, you started out with the traditional weak hand loading, which you still keep that skill up because you're always going to find yourself in a spot where, boy, I'm in a tunnel, I'm in a car, I'm somewhere in some bastardly shooting position.
Right.
But then the quad load, just for me, it was super intuitive. I didn't even try it. I just picked that up, and I like to keep my firing hand on the fire controls.
Yep.
And you see a lot of guys take that off and go strong hand. I'm just not comfortable with that.
Okay.
So, that was one big benefit of kind of weak hand quad loading.
Yep.
Gun gets a little heavy if you're running and you're loading 12 rounds into the tube, but it's something, it's kind of a give-take. They still go in the gun plenty fast, and they come out even faster.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm doing weak-handed, so or strong-handed, so I'm flipping the gun up, and then I'm taking two home. And for me, I was loading duals right before the season, and then a new device came out that just happened to work. I'm not saying it's better than anything else, but just literally for me, all of a sudden I could do quads, and so I didn't even dare to go to the left hand at that point. I was just like, my poor kids were, dealing with dad, like, prancing around the house, like, I'm loading quads. But now that I've got it down, my God, it is truly really, really fast. But you run that risk of, if you bump them and you get one out of place, all of a sudden you're loading three, and I don't know about you, but I'm not smart enough to keep track of anything but multiples of four. So does anyone see themselves changing or potentially going to anything new at any point? You had talked a little bit about
this. The day is coming where I probably change. I mean, last season I would say Jake and I were pretty even as far as speed-wise. It could go either way, and now I really feel like it's Jake's to lose. I have to try and beat him because he's just that much faster, and he kind of defies a lot of my hesitations about. I've seen him running through the woods, hopping over rocks at Blue Ridge, quadding like a boss. And so when I switch, it'll probably be to quads. I know the day's coming. I'm putting it off. I still think of what I'm doing as a conservative strategy. Twins is by far the fastest to load, and that's what I recommend with new shooters.
Right.
And then, you know, quads is high speed, high risk, high reward.
Right.
If you get it, it's the fastest.
So, you know, with load 2 and load 4, you're using bigger muscles too.
Right.
You know, if it gets cold like it does here in Minnesota,
That's true.
if you're trying to traditional weekend load, those little muscles in your hands, they get tired, they get cold, they don't work as fast.
Yep.
You're using your arms, your shoulders.
When they get wet or sandy
Yep.
or any number of things. So
You got bigger motions.
if you were talking to a new shooter, because that's what a lot of the people that watch our channel, you know, what would you recommend as their first loading device? Would you
Load 2.
load 2?
Load 2 right off the bat.
Okay.
And it's the transition to quads is pretty intuitive from there if you invest in practice time.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, these definitely had the easiest learning curve. I've been doing low 2s for so long, which I guess is like a year, just because I'm comfortable with it. But I'm with Adam. I mean, it's there's guys that run the same gun, same caddies, and they're quad loading, and they're just that much faster. And I think I've hit my point where I can't twin load any faster than I am right now.
Right.
And it's going to probably over the winter time I have some homework to do.
Yeah, we have a down season here, and
Yep.
if you're going to change, that's probably
Everybody kind of comes out swinging in the spring.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, thank you guys so much. It was fun shooting you today, first of all, and then to hang out and talk a little bit. And you know, check out P3 Multigun. They've got a bunch of stuff coming up. Arnzen Arms, of course, and Hawkeye Ordnance. So we got the Facebook, the YouTube, and the website. So thank you all, and God bless.